Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Greenspace Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome you to Planting Monterey Pines 101. And with me today is Sharon Harvey, the past president of the Rotary Club of Cambria. So to begin with, I want to give you a little background on how we collect seed and what we want to ask you to do for not only Greenspace, but more importantly for our Cambria Monterey Pine Forest. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to my friend the pine cone. And the Cambria stand of Monterey Pines has the largest pine cone of any of the 5 stands of Monterey Pine that exist natively in the world. So there's 3 stands of Monterey Pine in California: Monterey, Cambria, and there's a small stand north of Santa Cruz. And there's 2 islands off Baja California that have native stands, one on Guadalupe Island and the other on Cedros Island. And again, Cambria has the largest cone of any of the 5 stands. So we extract seed from these cones, and we've gone out in the forest and selected trees that are asymptomatic from the diseases that we do not want to potentially grow in our seedlings. And that's pitch canker, dwarf mistletoe, and western gall rust. So in order to get the seed out of the pine cone, we have to simulate nature. And these pine cones only open up either in a fire or in heat. These are semi-serotinous cones, which means that it needs heat to open up these scales. And these scales are glued together with resin. And when it gets hot, they pop open like popcorn. You can walk in the forest on a hot day and you can hear these cones start to pop open. So we simulated that by dropping pine cones in boiling water, and it opens the scales like so. And each one of these scales contains 2 seeds. And nature has done a great favor for Monterey pines since they adapted to fire and heat. They don't release the seeds for 24 to 48 hours after they open up. And that is because if there's a low burning fire on the ground, they don't want to release the seed right into hot embers or hot coals. So everything's cooled down when these things start to release their seed. So we've simulated a fire or heat, and now we're going to show you how we get our seed. So the seed falls out not quite that fast in nature, and each seed has a wing. And the seed is attached to the end of the wing. And if this was up 30 feet in the air, 40 feet, 100 feet, it would drop like a helicopter. Let me see if we can get something going here. They spin around, the wind blows it, and the seed hopefully finds a place to germinate. All these seeds, and there's hundreds in a cone, maybe none of them will ever germinate, maybe just 2 or 3. So they produce all this seed in order to try to regenerate themselves. So we're asking volunteers to adopt a rack of trees. And this rack of trees has been preloaded with soil. And you can see Sharon showing you this. And we want you to plant a rack of seeds for us. And what you'll get from Greenspace is a packet of 100 seeds. And we've de-winged all of these seeds for you and sanitized them in bleach and water.
Just a little bit of bleach.
Just a little bit. It's a 10%. Thank you. Yeah, it's a 10% solution of water and bleach, meaning bleach has 10% and 90% water. And then we dry it and bag it. And the reason we do that to sanitize it, because it'll kill any pathogen that might be on it, like spores from those 3 diseases that I was talking about earlier: pitch canker, dwarf mistletoe, and western gall rust. So we want you to have a rack. We want to give you a pack of seeds, and we'll give you a little plastic deal with your name on it, and you can put it in your rack like that. And after you've planted it, and I'm going to show you how we would like you to plant the seeds. So I'm just using a little paintbrush. And you want to take the soil and make about a 1/4 inch little divot and drop the seed right into the hole like that, and then just cover it up. You don't have to be precise, but we don't want it too deep. We want it to be about a 1/4 inch to 3/8.
What happens if you plant it too deep?
Well, the seed will have a very hard time to germinate. It'll germinate, but that seed has to push up out of the ground like this, out of the soil. And if it's too deep, it'll stay under the soil, and we'll never see it. It'll die.
Is this one that's grown and the seed's still right on top of it?
Exactly. So when you plant your whole tray, it'll be 2 to 3 months before you see a seedling come up. First they'll come up like so, they start bending, and then they emerge like this. This is the danger time when birds will come in and pick that seed off and pull the whole plant off. That's why we would like to see you cover it with netting. And the netting should be raised above the rack to keep birds out of it. So when the whole thing is planted and you're patiently waiting 2 or 3 months, and sometimes it takes longer. I'm going to move right over here, Sharon. This is what we hope happens. You'll have all these seedlings coming up. But you'll also have blanks, because not every seed is going to germinate, so don't worry about that. But this is what we would like to see, and we expect to have maybe 70, maybe 80% germination rate out of the rack that you have.
Would you wait a while and then replant the one that didn't come up?
Yeah, you could call me at my home phone, which is 805-927-4964, and I'll be glad to get you more seed. And how we want to do this, if you were wanting to adopt a rack to grow for us, which we will be planning in December or January of next year, we'll have everything prepared. You can drive up to the Creekside Reserve, the Greenspace Creekside Reserve, located on Center Street. I can have the rack here. All these racks have been sanitized, by the way, with bleach before we plant. And I'll have gloves on and a mask, and you can come to the Creekside Reserve on Earth Day, and I will gladly give you the rack with your name on it, the seeds, and we can stay in contact by email. So I would love to have your email at the same time, and we'll keep in contact and tell you when our planning is going to happen, and you can keep in contact with me and let me know how your racks of trees are going.
I have one question.
Yes, Sharon.
Where are the trees going to be planted?
Great idea. Great question too. And we are going to be planting 3,000 or maybe more trees on a location on state park property just north of Cambria, on the San Simeon State Beach properties. We planted 3,000 trees this winter, and we want to plant another 3,000 trees next year. So this will be a brand new forest of Monterey pines. We also grow trees for people who need to remove their trees because they either died or they're building a bigger footprint on their property and they need to remove a tree. We sell trees to them that are bigger than this to replant.